Arrest of Nicolás Maduro, the Venezuelan president and drug lord, as said or titled by the president of the United States of America, that is Donald Trump, has sent shivers around some other leaders around the world, and some saying that they did not participate in the arrest of Maduro. There is particularly the Prime Minister of UK. He says this: I want to establish the facts first. I want to speak to President Trump. I want to speak to allies. I can be absolutely clear that we were not involved, and I always say and believe we should all uphold international laws, he said in a statement to the British broadcaster. There is British Prime Minister Mr. Keir Starmer, who said that they did not participate. So he's trying to make it clear to the rest of the people and the leaders around the world that UK did not participate in this. This is just a US planned activity, a US planned encounter, a US planned arrest, and they did not participate in that. So people should be very clear with that. But I believe that this is just, he's afraid of something, but we are not so clear with that. Then the Russian president, that is Putin, says that this morning the United States committed an act of armed aggression against Venezuela. This is deeply concerning and condemnable. We support the statement by Venezuela's authorities and leaders of Latin American countries calling for an immediate meeting of the UN Security Council. But who leads the UN? Who leads the UN? Is the US. US makes everything. So they are beyond anything. And then we have the Iran Supreme Leader Iran Khamenei says this: what matters is that when a person realizes the enemy is arrogantly trying to impose something on the country, on the official, on the government, and on the nation, one must stand firm against the enemy and bear one's chest resistance. We will not yield to the enemy. There is a comment from the Iran Supreme Leader, who is also under checks, and something of such a kind might happen to him if it's not so much clear, if he doesn't really let it go, and if it doesn't make everything good for the people of Iran. Oh, that is just a hint, but yes, that one can still happen in Iran. And then we have the Cuba president says Cuba denounces that and demands an urgent reaction from the International Committee against the criminal US attack on Venezuela. And then we have the European Union has to say this on this, and the AU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, Kaja Kallas, the AU has repeatedly stated that Mr. Maduro lacks legitimacy and has defended a peaceful transition under all circumstances. The principle of international law and the UN Charter must be respected. We call for restraint, the safety of AU citizens in the country of our top priority. And then we have the Colombian now, who is also under check, by the way. Some other time Maduro said the drugs that are being supplied in the US are not from Venezuela, but they are from Colombia. And he put the president of Colombia under the bus, that he is to be blamed. Yeah, Venezuela is just a transit point, but not a factory of all those drugs. And he has guts to say this. Colombia reaffirms its unconditional commitment to the principles enshrined in the UN Charter, in particular respect for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of states, the prohibition of the use or threats of use of force, and a peaceful settlement of international disputes. In this regards, the Colombian government rejects any unilateral military actions that could aggravate the situation or put the civilian population at risk. Then we have the prayer of Spain. They say this: Spain calls for this escalation and moderation, and for action to always be taken in accordance with the international law and the principles of the UN Charter. In this regard, Spain is willing to offer its good offices to achieve a peaceful and negotiated solution to the current crisis that is between the US and Venezuela. And then we have the Germany Chancellor says this: Germany is monitoring the situation in Venezuela very closely, and following the latest reports with the great concerns, the foreign ministry is in close contact with the embassy in Caracas. Belgium has to say this: the safety of our citizens is a top priority. Our embassy in Bogota, which is responsible for Venezuela, and our services in Brussels are fully mobilized. The situation is being closely monitored in coordination with our European partners. Trinidad and Tobago, got to say this, Trinidad and Tobago is not a participant in any of these ongoing military operations. Trinidad and Tobago continues to maintain peaceful relations with the people of Venezuela. You hear, it's only two people or three leaders who've condemned and named US in this. That is Iran and, but the rest of the leaders have not directly condemned the US for doing whatever they have done. They're just trying to run around because they understand the principles and understand whatever is happening over here. If the US to turn to Trump, it's the US that is suffering under the hands of Maduro. It's the US that is suffering under the drugs of Maduro, drugs that are purposely say that it's Maduro sending them or allowing them to go, yes, enabling them to go to the US. So to Trump is America first, and America first is like what Trump is trying to do over here. He will enshrine and protect America from anything that will bring trouble to the American people, and he's willing to take the risks and the consequences, whatever or whatsoever that comes with such integrity in issues. So to him, it's not bad. He's still okay and doing everything that is supposed to be done. Remember, he committed to fight against terrorism and fight against groups that are supporting terrorism and such a thing, and that is what Trump is trying to do. So leave us a comment in the comment section and tell us what you think about whatever has just happened.